There's all this talk in the Afro-American Negro community about boycotting Christmas. Well, there are some things that the Afro-American Negro really needs to boycott in his community that he's not even thinking about boycotting. And the first thing he should be boycotting is this Negro pastor and this dysfunctional Afro-American Negro church. Now, your Afro-American Negro church is a well-kept monument of failure, spiritually and economically. If you look at the overall picture of your Afro-American Negro church, and what it adds to your community, it adds absolutely nothing. In fact, all it does is take 10% of the Afro American Negro community's dollars and goes and spends it with non black people. And spiritually, it offers no moral compass for the African American Negro community. If you look at your Negro church, your Negro pastor is participating in the same reckless, malicious, and out of control dysfunctional behaviors that many of the most sinful people in the world participate in. So why are people continuing to support this institution? Do you think you would be trying to boycott this morally bankrupt institution or trying to make efforts to reform it? But, the Afro American Negro, they don't think about, the institutions in their community. They just go and patronize them like a bunch of lemmings. And if you want to boycott something, your African American Negro Church is a core institution that really needs to be boycotted. And another institution that needs to be boycotted in your African American Negro community are your gangs. Now, your African American Negro gangs, like your Crips, your Bloods, whatever they call, they have been terrorizing this African American Negro community for about 40 years. They have destroyed the economic base of the African American Negro community. They have destroyed the tax base of the African American Negro community. And they've destroyed the property values of the African American Negro community with their gang violence, with their drive-by shootings, with their stabbings, with their assaults. And they have made life virtually untenable for African Americans for over 40 years. But you never hear the African American Negro talking about boycotting their local gang. No, in fact, your African American Negro will sit there and try to support their local gang. These are the people, they will give up their very own sons and daughters to these gangs, allow them to be second and third generation gang members, make them a part of this institution, which is destroying their very own community right in front of them. Meanwhile, while they're destroying their community, other foreign interlopers are coming into the community and making it their own, like your Arab store owners, your white hipsters who are moving into your apartment buildings, and other peoples like who are coming in and moving into African American neighborhoods because of the vulnerabilities that these gangs, these urban terrorists, have left in your community. They have left your black communities pretty much financially and without a financial and economic base, without businesses, and without a economic structure that allows African Americans to benefit. Thanks to their violence, your African American Negro community is one of the poorest places in the world. But no, your African American Negro won't boycott a gang because in their minds, a gang means social currency and protection. But who's protecting the Afro American Negro from the gang? The gang has destroyed the African American Negro community and has left it open for everybody else to make money off of it. But Negro thinks that that's something that they need to support and protect. Now, the third institution, your Afro American Negro needs to boycott are your local dope dealers. Your local dope dealers sell poison to your African American Negro, and they kill people in the community. They don't kill them with guns. Some of them do kill people with guns over turf and over dope, but the dope dealer kills your Afro American Negro very slowly by selling him poison, that he takes. But you don't hear anybody in the community talking about boycotting the dope dealer. You never hear anybody talking about boycotting, this guy who pretty much, sells poison to people and, is responsible for enabling many people to continue on with a dependent habit that ultimately leads to their own death. There's no talk of a boycott from your black leaders about that. No, not at all. And the next person that your Negro needs to boycott is your Democratic Party. For 40 years, this Afro American Negro has voted straight down a Democratic ticket for Democratic candidates who have done absolutely nothing for Afro-American Negro communities. But and dutifully, they go every year to vote down that Democratic ticket, not asking for any money from Washington or even their local city councilmen. And these city councilmen and congressmen pretty much, they get a free ride and a free career, primarily in African American districts where they are never held accountable and never, made responsible for bringing money and resources to the very people who they serve and the people that they pay taxes to. I mean, people pay taxes for their salary. They don't say a single thing to those people. They're not held accountable. And in fact, in many of these Negro districts, your Democratic candidates are some of the most corrupt officials in all the country. And that's because nobody in the Negro community ever holds these people accountable whatsoever. And when you look at the picture of your Democratic Party, uh, for the most part, in your African American Negro neighborhoods, there are places filled with urban blight. Um, you have poor schools, poor roads, poor infrastructure, poor everything. Meanwhile, this representative who's supposed to represent you in Washington and in your local area is sitting around, driving around in luxury cars, and getting a free ride every year because this Negro votes dutifully every 2 to 4 years to re-elect someone who has done absolutely nothing for them. But the Afro-American Negro will not boycott the Democratic Party. He will not boycott the party that has completely been against him from day one. A party that was founded for keeping him enslaved. A party that supported the Ku Klux Klan, created the Ku Klux Klan, a party that was for segregation, a party that was for Jim Crow laws, and a party that after they passive aggressively passed the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act, went on to create the welfare state that keeps many of these Afro American Negroes stranded in poverty. The very same welfare state that undermined the Afro American Negro economy and prevented a real black community from being built. And this is what, your Afro American Negro should be going out and boycotting. But no, he'd rather go out and boycott a holiday in the hopes of getting the attention of white people to tell them to stop killing black people. Instead of saying, we need to boycott these these institutions in our black community which have systematically done damage to the black community over the last 40 years, like your Negro pastors, like your, gangs, like your dope dealers, like your Democratic Party. He doesn't want to boycott these people. No, he'd rather, march and protest, shuck and jive, blame and shame, and talk about, getting the attention of white people and seeking the approval of white people instead of trying to work towards improving the quality of life for black people by boycotting the people who are against black people and against, the needs of black people and the people who are not working to help and support black people. Those are the people, he should be boycotting by not voting for them, not going to their churches, and doing things like that. And, that's would have a bigger and harder impact on things if the Negro, decided not to deal with this Afro American Negro church or made efforts to reform it, or if he decided to stop voting for this Democratic Party and looked at, your Republicans or your independents, or even created their own party, or if he went out there and, if the parents of many of these gang members decided, to put these guys out of their house and these dope dealers put them out of their house because many of these guys, again, they live with black women. Black woman has her name on the lease. Black woman controls, much of the money in the African American community. She can end the gang problem within 5 seconds by putting her son out of the house and saying, "Look, you're not going to be in this home unless you get out of this gang." That would end that right there. But no, the Negro doesn't want to do that. They'd rather boycott Christmas and wait for white people to solve their problems instead of solving them for themselves. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.